The colony of Alara Prime stretched across the quiet plains of its pale blue world, its silver buildings glinting faintly under the light of twin suns. Though the humans who lived here had long forgotten the legends of the old spaceways, whispers of history still lingered among the stars. Most stories were dismissed as myths, tales told to children about ships that vanished for centuries and strange signals from the void. Yet some old records hinted at the impossible. The Starbell, a human ship that had disappeared hundreds of years ago, might still exist somewhere in the vastness of space. Captain Leora Dane stood on the observation deck of the colony's main tower, staring at the fading horizon. Her hair, dark and wind-tossed, shimmered faintly in the light. She had always been fascinated by stories of human courage and exploration, those moments when people risked everything to reach the stars. Now, as she glanced at the sensors in her hand, a familiar signal caught her attention. It was faint, but there it was, an echo from deep space, repeating at midnight. It had the pattern of a ship's bell, the kind used by old human vessels to signal each other across dark corridors or through dangerous systems. "Captain," a voice called from behind. It was Joran, her communications officer. He had a lean build and eyes that seemed to notice even the smallest details. "I think you need to see this. The signal, it's coming from the outer rim, past the abandoned colonies. It's unusual." Leora didn't speak immediately. She had heard these stories before. Ships lost to the void, calls that vanished into silence. Most turned out to be nothing, glitches in the sensors or echoes from dead satellites. But this one was different. There was a rhythm to it, a deliberate pattern that repeated every few minutes. It was almost alive. She turned back to the observation window, looking toward the dark expanse beyond the colony's atmosphere. "Prepare a reconnaissance team," she said at last. "I want to know exactly what we're dealing with. If this is a ship from the old legends, we need to find it." Quote, the crew prepared quickly. Engineers checked propulsion systems. Historians studied old ship designs. And communication specialists tried to decode the bell signal. Among them was Mara, a young engineer who had grown up listening to her grandmother's stories about the Starbell. "Captain," she said quietly, "if this is really it has been gone for centuries. Who knows what we'll find?" 71. 71. 71. 71, Leora nodded. "That's exactly why we need to see it for ourselves." She felt the weight of responsibility, but also the thrill of discovery. Humans had always been driven by curiosity, by the need to understand what lay beyond the horizon. This was their chance to prove that spirit had not faded with time. By the time the twin suns had set, the colony was quiet. Only the faint hum of machinery filled the air. As the clock struck midnight, the bell rang again. This time, it was clearer, almost as if the sound had traveled across the void just to reach them. Crew members paused in their work, feeling a shiver of awe and unease. Even the oldest historian, a man named Selvin, who had spent decades studying human space history, admitted that the signal matched the descriptions of the Starbell's bell. "It's real," he whispered, almost to himself. "It cannot be anything else." Leora gathered her team in the control room. The holographic map projected the signal's source, a dark region filled with abandoned outposts and asteroid fields. "We are heading into uncharted territory," she said. "No one knows what's out there, but humanity has always faced the unknown with courage. We will do the same." The journey began at first light. The reconnaissance vessel, the Aurora Sentinel, glided smoothly through the atmosphere and into space. Its hull reflected the first rays of the suns, a silver streak against the darkness. Leora's crew worked seamlessly together, adjusting sensors and plotting the course toward the signal. The farther they traveled, the older and more mysterious the systems became. Relics of human expansion were scattered across the stars, abandoned stations, derelict ships, and empty colonies that once thrived but now lay silent. As they moved through the outer rim, the signal grew stronger, and the bell rang again. This time, it seemed to vibrate through the ship itself, echoing in the corridors, as if calling out to them. Mara approached Leora, her face pale but excited. "Captain, It's really trying to guide us. I've never seen anything like it. Joran adjusted the sensors. It's not just random. The intervals are precise. Someone or something wants us to find it. Days passed as the Aurora Sentinel followed the mysterious bell across deserted star systems. The crew endured long hours of navigation, repairs, and analysis. They encountered asteroids drifting silently in the void, remnants of ancient wars, and pockets of cosmic radiation that interfered with their instruments. Each challenge tested their skill and patience. But their determination never wavered. Humanity, they realized, was defined by the ability to adapt, to overcome obstacles that seemed insurmountable. Late one night, as the crew gathered in the common area, the bell rang again. This time, it was louder, almost as if the sound had traveled across centuries to reach them. Silence fell over the room. Even the most skeptical crew members felt the weight of history pressing in. Leora stood and walked to the viewport, staring into the darkness. "There it is," she whispered. "The star bell. It's waiting for us." The ship appeared on the sensors as a shadow at first, drifting silently against the backdrop of stars. Its hull was worn and covered in cosmic dust. But the design was unmistakable, an ancient human vessel, preserved despite centuries of neglect. Lights flickered faintly along its surface, and the bell echoed once more. A haunting, rhythmic chime that resonated deep within the crew's minds. Leora activated the communication system. "This is Captain Leora Dane of the Aurora Sentinel. We are human explorers. We mean no harm. Please respond." For a long moment, there was only silence. Then, the bell rang again, slower this time, deliberate. It was a response, a signal that they had been acknowledged. Excitement and tension filled the air as the crew prepared for the first boarding. The stories of centuries past were no longer myths, they were real, and humanity had found them. The docking sequence began carefully. The Aurora Sentinel aligned with the starbell, and magnetic clamps attached with a quiet hiss. Airlocks cycled, and the crew donned their exploration suits, hearts pounding with anticipation. The corridors of the ancient ship awaited them, dark but intact, holding secrets that had been lost to time. As they stepped aboard, the bell rang again, faint but clear, echoing through the starbell's halls. Leora paused, listening. "It's as if the ship is alive," she said softly, "as if it has been waiting for us all this time." The crew moved carefully through the corridors, their lights revealing walls engraved with the history of human space exploration. Every panel, every artifact, told a story of courage, sacrifice, and curiosity. Mara ran her hand along the surface of a control console, marveling at the preservation. "Humans built this to last," she said. "Even centuries later, it's still perfect." Joran studied the navigation logs, decoding old coordinates and mission reports. "This ship traveled farther than any human vessel we've ever known," he said. "It must have left for a purpose beyond what anyone imagined." Hours passed as they explored deeper. The bell continued its midnight rhythm, guiding them toward the heart of the starbell. Leora felt a mixture of awe and responsibility. They had found more than a ship, they had found a part of humanity's soul, preserved across centuries of silence. Finally, they reached the central chamber. Panels glowed faintly, and a large brass bell hung suspended in the center, a relic of a time when human ships used sound to communicate through metal corridors. The bell's chime was no longer just a signal, it was a call, a bridge between the past and present. Leora touched the edge of the bell, feeling the vibrations. "It's saying, 'We are ready,'" she whispered. The crew gathered around, understanding without words. Humanity had always been defined by its courage, its curiosity, and its willingness to face the unknown. The starbell had tested them, and they had answered. The night outside stretched endlessly, the twin suns long set, but inside the starbell, and in the hearts of those aboard the Aurora Sentinel, a new story of humanity had begun, a story of rediscovery, courage, and the enduring spirit of exploration. And as the bell rang once more, echoing through the void, it promised that the past and future of humanity were forever intertwined, waiting for those brave enough to reach for the stars. The Starbell seemed alive in the quiet of space, its corridors stretching endlessly, as if designed to test the patience and courage of those who walked them. Leora Dane led her crew through the ship's central passages, their boots echoing softly against the polished metal floors. Every corner, every panel held the faint hum of energy, and the brass bell in the central chamber had left a lingering vibration that seemed to follow them. It was as though the ship itself was aware of their presence. The crew split into teams, each assigned a section to explore. Mara and Joran went to the engineering bays, eager to understand the ancient ship's systems. Selvin, the historian, moved toward the archives, his eyes alight with curiosity. Leora herself led the navigation team, following faint traces of signals left by the Starbell's long-lost crew. The first step onto the ship had been cautious, but now the excitement of discovery pushed them forward, fueling both awe and careful scrutiny. The corridors were lined with devices unfamiliar to the crew. Some were control panels etched with symbols that had not been used for centuries. Others appeared as storage units containing artifacts, manuals, equipment, and personal items of those who had first built the Starbell. Mara ran her fingers over a small console, marveling at how precisely the ship had been maintained. "It's incredible," she whispered. "Even after all this time, everything is intact. Nothing decayed, nothing broken." Joran was equally fascinated, though more analytical. He scanned a cluster of panels, noting energy readings that suggested the ship's reactors were still partially operational. "Someone or something kept the Starbell alive all these years," he said. "It's like it was waiting for the right crew to come along." Selvin, meanwhile, discovered the ship's archives, a room filled with holographic records that flickered faintly under his touch. He traced centuries-old logs of human exploration, records of daring journeys across uncharted systems, and maps marking stars that had long been forgotten. "This ship was a pioneer," he murmured. "It went where no human had dared, beyond the borders of known space." Hours passed, and the crew uncovered more secrets. The Starbell had traveled farther than any human vessel before it vanished. Strange coordinates marked on ancient maps hinted at regions untouched by human presence. Some systems contained abandoned colonies, while others held unknown anomalies. Each discovery painted a picture of humans who had dared to explore the cosmos in ways that no one else had imagined. As the team ventured deeper into the ship, they encountered an obstacle. The automated systems, long dormant, began to activate. Lights flickered along the corridors, and mechanical doors opened with sudden precision. The Starbell's security protocols had not been used for centuries, and now they viewed the newcomers as intruders. Panels flashed red warnings, and small drones emerged from hidden compartments, scanning the crew with sensors. Leora quickly assessed the situation. "Everyone, stand back, but stay calm," she ordered. "These systems are old but not hostile. They are just responding to our presence." "Mara, can you override the security protocols?" Mara nodded, her fingers flying over the ancient interface. She deciphered symbols and codes that had not been used in hundreds of years, translating them into commands the crew could understand. Slowly, the warning lights dimmed, and the drones retreated to their charging stations. The Starbell seemed to recognize their skill and allowed them to continue. The crew breathed a sigh of relief. "It's testing us," Selvin said, excitement lighting his eyes. "It wants to know if humans are clever, if we can overcome challenges. This ship has been waiting for centuries, and now we are here to answer." With the immediate danger past, Leora guided her team to the ship's central data core, a room filled with glowing panels and pulsating energy conduits. The core contained the Starbell's mission logs, encrypted messages, and travel data. Joran worked quickly, connecting the Aurora Sentinel to the ship's systems and beginning to download the ancient records. As the data flowed in, the crew learned the Starbell's story. The ship had been built during the height of humanity's exploration era, designed to journey into uncharted regions beyond known space. Its mission had been self-imposed: to travel far beyond human reach and gather knowledge, technology, and experiences that humanity of the time could not yet understand. The Starbell had deliberately cut itself off from all communication, waiting for a future generation of humans capable of finding it. Leora read aloud from a log, her voice steady but filled with awe. We were tasked not to return until humanity had evolved. Until the courage, curiosity, and ingenuity of our descendants could meet the challenges we left behind. Those who venture must face the unknown, overcome obstacles, and prove that the human spirit endures. The words struck the crew deeply. This was more than a ship. It was a test. A message left across centuries to see if humans had retained their drive to explore, their ability to face danger without fear, and their willingness to work together in moments of uncertainty. But the Starbell's secrets were not fully revealed yet. As they explored, the crew encountered chambers filled with artifacts of human life. Journals, personal effects, and tools used for daily routines on the ship. Each item told a story of the people who had once called the Starbell home. Selvin carefully examined a journal, reading passages about laughter shared during long voyages, the camaraderie of crew members, and the small acts of bravery that kept humanity alive in the cold expanse of space. This ship is more than technology, Selvin said. It's a record of what it means to be human. Courage, curiosity, and hope are written into every panel, every corridor. And now, we get to continue that legacy. Mara and Joran moved to the engineering bays, discovering the ship's power systems still functional in a low-energy mode. The reactors hummed faintly, their energy preserved over centuries. Mara marveled at the design. Humans thought about the future when they built this, she said. Even centuries later, someone could come and use it. They trusted that humanity would survive long enough to find it. Hours turned into days as the crew continued to explore. They faced small but challenging obstacles: collapsed corridors, damaged systems, and cryptic locks designed to test logic and patience. Each challenge required teamwork and ingenuity, and each success strengthened their confidence. Leora watched her crew grow more united with every test, realizing that the Starbell's lessons were not just about survival, they were about the strength of human spirit. Late one night, the bell rang again. This time, it was slower, more deliberate, almost like a heartbeat. The sound reverberated through the corridors, echoing in every chamber they had explored. Leora stood in the center of the ship, listening. "It's acknowledging us," she whispered. "It knows we are here, and it recognizes our courage and determination." The crew gathered in the central chamber, looking at the bell suspended above them. The sound seemed to carry a message beyond words, a connection across time, a bridge between the Starbell's original crew and those who had finally found it. They realized that humanity had not forgotten, that the spark of exploration, the courage to face the unknown, was still alive. As they prepared to rest for the night, Leora reflected on what they had discovered. The Starbell had been gone for centuries, yet it had waited patiently, preserving its knowledge and testing the descendants of its builders. And now, humanity had answered. They had faced the unknown, solved problems, and proved that courage, ingenuity, and teamwork were timeless qualities. Outside, the void remained silent, the stars distant and cold. Yet inside the Starbell, light flickered, and the hum of machinery echoed like a heartbeat. The bell would ring again, guiding humanity forward, reminding them that exploration was never-ending, and that the courage to face the unknown was the defining trait of their species. Leora looked at her crew, their faces tired but filled with wonder. "We are only at the beginning," she said softly. "This ship has so much to teach us, and we will learn it, together. Humanity will continue, stronger than before." The Starbell's bell rang once more, a slow, deliberate sound that resonated through the ship and across the void. It was a sound of hope, a promise of discovery, and a reminder that humanity's story was far from over. The crew of the Aurora Sentinel knew that the journey ahead would be difficult, but they were ready. They had found a ship lost to time, and with it, the courage and knowledge of countless generations. And as the sound faded into the silent reaches of space, the Starbell waited patiently, a guardian of human legacy, ready to share its secrets and lessons with those brave enough to continue the journey. The Starbell stretched endlessly before them, a silent monument to human ingenuity and persistence. Every corridor seemed to whisper of a past long forgotten, and yet, as Leora Dane and her crew moved deeper into the ship, they felt a strange sense of purpose, as if the vessel itself guided their steps. The bell's distant chime echoed softly through the halls, a steady rhythm that seemed alive, reminding them of the generations of humans who had built and sailed this ship centuries ago. The crew continued exploring, moving carefully through chambers filled with controls, displays, and artifacts. The deeper they went, the clearer it became that the Starbell was not just a ship, it was a repository of knowledge, a guardian of human history, and perhaps a teacher of patience, courage, and ingenuity. In one room, they discovered rows of small pods, each containing logs of human experiences, messages from past explorers, and lessons learned from journeys far beyond known space. Selvin carefully examined one of the logs, reading aloud about explorers who had faced deadly storms in the void, navigated through unstable wormholes, and charted systems that had never been seen before. These people, they risked everything to explore, Selvin said, awe evident in his voice. And now, we are walking in their footsteps. We are proving that humanity still has the courage they once did. Mara and Joran moved to the engineering sections, studying the Starbell's reactors and propulsion systems. Even after centuries, the technology was astonishing. The ship's engines had been designed to function far longer than any vessel in current human fleets, with systems capable of self-repair and adaptive maintenance. Mara tapped a panel, watching as dormant systems hummed to life. "It's amazing," she said. "They thought about the future, and they trusted that humans would survive long enough to use this ship again." As they delved further, the crew encountered the ship's automated intelligence, a sophisticated AI that had remained dormant, preserving the Starbell in a state of readiness. When Leora activated the interface, the AI spoke in a calm, measured voice, its tone neither hostile nor welcoming, but neutral and patient. "Greetings, humans," it said. "You have arrived. The Starbell has awaited your presence. You are the descendants of those for whom this vessel was built. Prove your worth, and the knowledge of centuries shall be shared." And then, the words sent a shiver through the crew. The Starbell had been more than a ship, it had been a test, a measure of human capability across generations. The AI presented a series of challenges, designed to evaluate the crew's problem-solving, cooperation, and courage. In one chamber, they faced a complex network of corridors with shifting walls and automated locks, forcing them to rely on logic, observation, and teamwork. Each puzzle solved caused the bell to chime, faint but distinct, acknowledging their progress. Leora observed her crew carefully. "This is more than a challenge," she said quietly. "It's a lesson. The Starbell wants to know if humans can think, adapt, and work together under pressure. And so far, we're proving ourselves." Hours turned into days as the crew continued to explore and solve the Starbell's tests. In the navigation room, Joran worked to unlock centuries-old star charts. The maps revealed paths to regions of space never documented in current records, some with resources, others with strange cosmic phenomena. "This knowledge could change everything," he said, excitement in his voice. The Starbell wasn't lost. It was waiting for humans capable of understanding the universe as it truly is. Meanwhile, Selvin discovered chambers filled with journals and personal artifacts from the Starbell's original crew. He read aloud passages that spoke of courage, hope, and the determination to face the unknown. "Every member of this ship believed in the human spirit," he said. "They trusted that the future would be worthy of their efforts. And now, we are proving them right." Mara continued to study the ship's engineering systems, fascinated by the precision and foresight of the original designers. "Every system is built to last," she said. "Even after centuries, the Starbell is ready to function again. They built it for humans who could think, who could learn, who could adapt. And we are proving that we can. As they moved through the ship, they discovered signs of long journeys, records of distant stars, planets explored, and anomalies encountered. Some areas had been left untouched for centuries, yet they were preserved as if waiting for someone to uncover them. The bell continued its steady rhythm, guiding them through the Starbell's heart, reminding them of the connection between past and present. One evening, Leora gathered her crew in the central chamber. "The Starbell has shown us the past," she said. "It has tested our courage, our intelligence, and our ability to work together. But there is more to learn. We are not just exploring a ship, we are rediscovering humanity's potential." The AI spoke again, its voice calm and deliberate. "You have progressed well, humans. You have demonstrated qualities that define your species: ingenuity, courage, and collaboration. The final trial awaits. You must understand why the Starbell journeyed beyond human reach and what purpose it serves in the universe. Only then will its knowledge be fully yours." The crew prepared themselves for the final challenge. They entered a chamber at the center of the Starbell, where a holographic display of the galaxy appeared. Stars and systems shimmering in intricate detail. The AI guided them to coordinates marked with ancient symbols, revealing regions where the Starbell had collected data, resources, and experiences. The Starbell journeyed to understand the unknown, the AI said. It sought to gather knowledge beyond what humanity of its time could grasp. You must now comprehend its purpose and the legacy it carries. Leora studied the holographic galaxy, tracing the paths of the Starbell. "It went farther than anyone could imagine," she said. "It wasn't just exploration. It was preparation. It was gathering knowledge for the humans of the future, for those who would be brave enough to continue the journey." Joran nodded. "It was waiting for us. For humans who could understand its lessons and use its knowledge wisely. This ship is a bridge between the past and our future," Selvin added. "It's more than technology. It's a record of courage, curiosity, and the human spirit. It has preserved everything so we can learn, so we can continue where it left off." The Starbell believed in humanity, even when it had been gone for centuries. The final test of the Starbell was not a puzzle or a physical challenge. It was a test of understanding the ability to grasp the ship's purpose and the responsibility it represented. Leora and her crew stood together, realizing that their courage, teamwork, and insight had answered that test. They understood the message. Humans were capable of great exploration, great ingenuity, and great courage. And the Starbell was a testament to that enduring spirit. The bell rang one final time, a slow, deliberate chime that echoed through the corridors and across the void of space. It was not a warning, not a call for help. It was recognition, a symbol of accomplishment. The Starbell had waited for centuries, and now humanity had arrived. Leora touched the bell gently, feeling its vibrations resonate through the ship and her own body. "We have found it," she whispered. "We have understood. And now, humanity can continue its journey, stronger and wiser than before." Mara smiled, her eyes shining. "This is more than a ship. It's a teacher, a guide, and a record of everything humans can achieve. And we are part of its story now." The crew moved through the Starbell, exploring the final chambers and recording their findings. Every discovery, every artifact, every piece of knowledge they uncovered was a reminder of what humans could accomplish when curiosity, courage, and collaboration were combined. The ship's AI remained calm, observing their actions, satisfied with the choices and understanding of those who had come centuries after the Starbell had vanished. As they prepared to return to the Aurora Sentinel, Leora reflected on the journey so far. The Starbell had tested them, guided them, and revealed humanity's past and potential. It had reminded them that exploration was never ending, and that courage and ingenuity were the keys to survival and progress. They had proven that humans could face the unknown and emerge stronger, carrying the lessons of the past forward into the future. The bell rang once more, echoing through the Starbell and into the emptiness of space. It was a sound of triumph, of hope, and of recognition. The Starbell had completed its purpose for now, and humanity had answered. Leora and her crew knew that the journey ahead would be filled with new challenges, but they were ready. They had learned the lessons of centuries, and they would carry that knowledge with them into the stars. And as the Aurora Sentinel prepared to leave the Starbell behind, Leora cast one last glance at the ship, its ancient hull shimmering in the faint light of distant stars. "We will return," she whispered, "and humanity will continue. The Starbell's legacy will guide us, and we will honor it with every step we take beyond the stars." The bell's chime faded into the void, but its message remained clear. The human spirit endures. No matter how much time has passed, no matter how far the stars stretch, and those who dare to explore, to face the unknown, and to work together will always be ready to answer the call. The Aurora Sentinel drifted silently through the outer rim as the Starbell's bell rang faintly behind them, a slow, deliberate chime that seemed to mark both an ending and a beginning. Leora Dane sat in the captain's chair, her hands resting lightly on the console, eyes fixed on the shimmering points of distant stars. The crew worked quietly, cataloging data, logging artifacts, and reflecting on the journey that had transformed their understanding of humanity and the universe. For days, they had explored the Starbell, deciphered its logs, and solved the ship's tests. Every chamber revealed stories of human courage, ingenuity, and the will to explore the unknown. Now, as the Aurora Sentinel moved away from the ancient vessel, the weight of that knowledge pressed on them in a way both humbling and inspiring. Humanity had reached across centuries and found itself once again, not just in memory, but in capability. Selvin, the historian, carefully examined a collection of holographic records from the Starbell's archives. He traced paths taken by explorers long gone, noting discoveries of planets, asteroid belts rich with resources, and cosmic anomalies that could expand human understanding. The Starbell was more than a ship, he said quietly. It was a teacher, a guide, and a witness to what humans are capable of. And now, we have the responsibility to share it with others. Mara leaned against the wall of the observation deck, still marveling at the engineering wonders of the Starbell. Every system was designed to last centuries, she said. Even the smallest details show thoughtfulness, foresight, and trust in the future. Whoever built this ship believed in humanity. Joran, monitoring the sensor arrays, looked up with a thoughtful expression. And now, we must prove ourselves worthy of that trust, he said. The Starbell showed us that courage, curiosity, and teamwork are timeless. We carry those lessons back to the colony, and we must live by them. Leora stood and walked toward the main viewport, staring into the dark expanse of space. The Starbell waited for us, she said softly. It waited for humans who could understand its purpose, who could learn from it, and who could continue its journey in spirit. We've passed its tests, but the real work begins when we return home. The journey back to Alara Prime was uneventful in terms of danger, but rich in reflection. Crew members shared their thoughts, discussed lessons learned, and speculated on what other wonders humanity might discover beyond known space. Every passing star reminded them of the vastness of the universe and the small but enduring role humans played within it. As they approached the colony, Leora noticed that a crowd had gathered near the landing platforms. Word of the expedition had spread, and citizens were eager to witness the return of a ship long thought to exist only in legend. Children clung to their parents, eyes wide with wonder, while elders whispered of stories they had heard in their youth. The bell's chime, faint but unmistakable, echoed through the colony as the Aurora Sentinel prepared to land. The docking sequence was precise and smooth. Magnetic clamps engaged, and the airlock cycled open, releasing the crew into the waiting crowd. Leora stepped forward first, her uniform crisp, and her expression calm, yet filled with quiet pride. Behind her, the crew followed, carrying data records, artifacts, and samples from the Starbell. The crowd's reaction was one of awe and admiration. Humans had always dreamed of rediscovering lost knowledge, and now, they had witnessed it firsthand. Selvin moved to address the assembly. For centuries, humanity has dreamed of reaching the stars, of exploring the unknown, and of preserving the courage of those who came before us. Today, we have found a ship that was lost to time, the Starbell, and with it, we have rediscovered the lessons of our ancestors. It waited for us, and we have answered. Children pointed to the artifacts and holographic displays, eyes wide with curiosity. Did humans really travel this far? One of them asked. Leora smiled. Yes, she said. Humans have always reached beyond what seems possible. And now, it's your turn to carry that courage forward. Mara presented a small device recovered from the Starbell, demonstrating its functions to engineers and students. This shows how humans can build for the future, she explained. Even centuries later, it still works, and it still teaches us. That's the legacy of ingenuity and care. Joran spoke with the communication specialists, detailing the Starbell's navigation charts and energy systems. These maps reveal regions we have never explored, he said. Resources, planets, and mysteries await. Humans are ready to face them, just as the Starbell anticipated. The night fell over HFY, and as the colony prepared for rest, the bell of the Starbell rang once more. Though the ancient ship remained in the outer rim, the sound seemed to carry across space to the colony, a gentle chime that echoed in the hearts of everyone who heard it. It was a sound of triumph, of hope, and of continuity, a reminder that humanity's courage and curiosity were eternal. Leora stood on the observation deck once more, gazing at the stars above. The Starbell has given us more than knowledge, she said. It has given us perspective, inspiration, and proof that humans can endure, adapt, and thrive. The challenges ahead will be great, but so is our spirit. As the colony celebrated the return of the crew and the rediscovery of the Starbell, plans began to form for future expeditions. Scientists, engineers, and explorers worked together, inspired by the courage and wisdom of those who had built the Starbell centuries before. The knowledge recovered from the ancient ship promised to advance technology, expand human understanding, and guide future explorers across the galaxy. Selvin reflected on the significance of their discovery. We have learned that humanity's past holds lessons for the future, he said. Courage, ingenuity, curiosity, and teamwork are not just traits, they are our legacy. The Starbell waited for us to remember that. And now, we will carry it forward. Mara and Joran worked late into the night, documenting engineering systems and star maps. Their excitement was palpable, each new discovery opening possibilities for human advancement. This is just the beginning, Mara said. The Starbell has given us tools, knowledge, and inspiration. Humanity will reach farther than ever before. As midnight approached, the colony gathered once again, this time to honor the spirit of human exploration. The Starbell's bell, faint but distinct, rang across the skies. The sound resonated through the hearts of every human present. A reminder that no matter how much time passed, the courage to explore, to learn, and to grow was never lost. Leora addressed the crowd, her voice steady and full of conviction. Humanity has rediscovered a ship lost for centuries, but more importantly, we have rediscovered ourselves. The Starbell has taught us that courage, curiosity, and teamwork endure. It has shown us that even in the vastness of space, the human spirit can thrive. And it is that spirit that will guide us into the future. The crowd cheered, their excitement mixing with awe and reverence. Children whispered to each other about distant stars and planets they might one day visit, and adults reflected on the determination that had allowed humans to survive and thrive across generations. The Starbell had connected the past, present, and future, creating a legacy that would inspire countless generations to come. In the quiet hours after the celebration, Leora returned to the observation deck. The twin suns of HFY had set, leaving the sky dotted with stars. The bell's chime lingered faintly in the distance, a gentle reminder of the journey, the lessons learned, and the promise of what humanity could achieve. She felt a deep sense of satisfaction, knowing that the crew had not only discovered a ship but also embraced the responsibility of continuing humanity's story across the stars. The crew gathered one last time, sharing stories, laughter, and reflections on their journey. Each member felt a connection not only to the Starbell but to the generations of humans who had come before and those who would follow. The ship had been a teacher, a guide, and a testament to the enduring qualities that made humanity unique. Leora looked at her crew, pride shining in her eyes. "We are the beginning of the next chapter," she said. "The Starbell has given us lessons, knowledge, and inspiration. It has reminded us that humanity's journey is never-ending, and we will honor that legacy. One step, one discovery, and one star at a time." As the night deepened over Alara Prime, the Starbell remained in orbit, silent but vigilant. Its bell had rung for centuries, waiting for humans capable of understanding its message. Now, humanity had answered, carrying the courage, curiosity, and wisdom of generations forward. The chime echoed faintly across space, a promise that the future was wide open, and that humans, bold and determined, would continue to explore, learn, and grow. And so, under the starlit sky, the colony of Alara Prime slept peacefully, inspired by the Starbell and the knowledge that the human spirit was eternal. The journey had been long, the lessons profound, and the possibilities endless. Humanity had proven once again that even in the vast darkness of space, courage, curiosity, and determination could light the way, guiding explorers across centuries and galaxies yet to be discovered. The bell rang one final time, a soft, lingering chime that carried across the colony and into the hearts of all who had witnessed the return of the Starbell. It was a sound of hope, of legacy, and of humanity's enduring spirit. And as Leora watched the stars, she knew with certainty that the journey had only just begun, and that humanity's story among the stars would continue, guided by the lessons of the past and the courage of those willing to reach beyond the known.